Yes, yes, finally something has gone right in the last few months, because Pure Flix has a quarantine show. Are you stuck alone, miserable, and hated by everyone around you? Well, you no longer have an excuse, because you too can find love in quarantine. Pure Flix's Finding Love in Quarantine is an 8-part web series starring David A.R. White as Rick Baldwin, a widower who is stuck at home during the lockdown with his daughter Gracie, played by his real-life daughter Ocean White. The series comes from writers Matt Shapira, a producer on the God's Not Dead movies, plus Tommy Blaze, who, has written some Pure Flix stuff, but he was Carl, Rachel's lame date after she found out Ross was into her on Friends. Now, this is the second made during quarantine thing I've watched on the show, and considering the series was released back in May, that ups the wow, this was made fast reaction. But already looking at it, I can tell it's a better assembled project than the walking-sploitation movie Angry Asian Murder Hornets. Let's take a look at the first few episodes to see if I recommend pursuing it further, as if that's a mystery. It's starring David A.R. White. I'm gonna recommend pursuing it further. First, we need to get the exposition out of the way. You know, the exposition being the virus.
We're all in a fishbowl, kind of like this guy, only there's a whole lot less room to move around.
I wish this is how the news explained the virus to us. This is a world before all of our stock footage became contaminated. This is like if the horrors of Contagion took place in the universe of My Three Sons. Oh, and you know how one of my least favorite cliches is opening with something later on in the project and then flashing us a 3 weeks earlier card?
I knew that. Thanks, honey.
I've seen the news. You didn't have to 3 weeks earlier the global pandemic. The virus hasn't even hit yet, and already he and his daughter look like they're waiting for a lockdown to happen so they can murder each other. And why not? Their days seem pretty busy.
My daughter gets up, she makes her breakfast, day in, day out. I sell, make calls, repeat sales.
Also, the virus has cloned them. I know I should remark on all the stock footage they use so far, but they drop it pretty quickly, and I'll take that over half of the movie being walking. Being a widower doesn't seem so bad. His wife still visits him in visions.
Gracie is, doing fine.
And here's what keeps bringing me back, because yes, I love spotlighting Pure Flix on my channel, but also, David A.R. White is still really, really good in these.
I know it's been 3 years. I just don't know if I can do this without you.
I really believe all the pressure he's under. Look, his daughter's all Gen Z and shit. She's got a phone and fake ears. Will Dad ever understand?
Do I even want to know what kind of music you're listening to?
Probably not.
I'm sure he knows Was Not Was. He was walking the dinosaur years before you were born. Unfortunately, Salesman Dad can't do his business because the statewide lockdown happens immediately. Now to arrest whoever the hell that is walking outside. Aren't you listening to the news?
God save the Queen. And may God save us all.
Okay, what channel is he watching? The first episode was narrated by David A.R. White, but, maybe his microphone broke or something?
The trouble with mankind is we think we have time.
Because who the hell is narrating it now? There's a lot of noble intentions here so far. I like how it shows how a parent talks straight with his kid and breaks down what's going on in the world. And they're not dishing out some kind of conspiracy either. I just wish the same repetitive music wasn't playing all throughout the first and second episode. Never mind that though, it's 3 weeks later and he's preparing his armored car to shoot some bikers in the apocalypse. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Rick is having trouble remembering what day it is, which I can relate to. I had that problem even before the lockdown. Todaysdate.com is a godsend. I just wish we could social distance from the supporting characters.
Yeah, nothing screams, I love you, babe, more than a prepaid gift card.
And you are? Maybe they're just a vision. After all, the isolation has lasted so long, they're already seeing pink elephants. And Dad still just doesn't understand.
Are you gonna answer that?
I'm waiting for it to stop ringing so I can text her and find out what she wants.
That doesn't make any sense.
Okay, boomer dad, now put on a tiny hat and join me for my morning bowl of glitter. Get with the times. Rick is worried about whether or not he's still gonna have a job after this, and considering he's a salesman, it's seeming more and more like he secretly is the same character from Revelation Road. He suggests that they move their business online, which makes me think their business is doomed to fail regardless of the quarantine. How is their business not online yet? When Gracie cracks and wants to go to her friends, there is a good heartfelt moment between her and Dad where they talk about her mom. I just wish the same sad musical track wasn't still playing over this, but eventually they change up the soundtrack. Because they shut the show off and just watched Big instead. That was easy. Luckily, Gracie teaches Dad how to internet through the power of montage. Yep, it's that easy. Okay, so where is the love in finding love in quarantine? Is the romance between the two neighborhood watch guys? I don't want that at all. Please, for the love of God, get to Dad's first web sales seminar instead.
Thank you for joining me over the next 30 minutes of my very first online sales webinar.
And then their business shut down. Hope he stays on track.
I think Daddy is the first man that a little girl learns to wrap around her finger. And then when she grows up, she realizes, oh my goodness, I have 9 others.
Well, this webinar took a turn. Dad's close to Don Draper having a breakdown over a Hershey bar. Rick, come to my virtual office. We need to talk. I would sum up my thoughts now after the first 2 episodes, but we haven't even met the love interest yet, so I have to continue.
What sort of man is this that even the winds and sea obey him?
Seriously, is God narrating this? And look, the crazy bikers are forming. Oh sure, they're friendly now, but wait until Brian Bosworth takes over. I don't see how their life is any different here. Regardless of a quarantine, someone in a Pure Flix movie is still going to be playing basketball and talking about chicks, bro. Not to mention...
How many sports do they even play?
There is no lockdown from the sitcom jokes, which makes sense. It is a sitcom. And how? Look, the crazy boss is Tom Arnold. We finally get Tom Arnold and David A.R. White together and they can't even share the screen yet. Even Stacey Dash is here as Teresa. She's not so into Rick working from home with his lazy ass. But Amber, however...
He's not public speaking. He's sitting at a computer in his pajamas.
Hey, you could make a living out of doing that. Trust me. So is Amber her neighbor? Her maid? Are they related somehow? Who cares? She's gonna catfish the hell out of Rick.
I think Daddy is the first man that a little girl learns to wrap around her finger.
I think a normal person would want to find out the context of that before instantly falling in love. Teresa, however, does not trust him.
History's most nefarious men had an obsession with elephants. Hitler, Al Capone.
Because he's on the internet, she has to immediately compare him to Hitler. Anyway, as Rick prepares his final solution in cleaning the living room, this montage may be corny, but they have switched up the soundtrack, so that's good. Now eat your dog food. Dad accidentally bought the wrong canned food in bulk. It's time for another one of his webinars, so Teresa hits play and leaves. Amber will watch it instead and fantasize. She's the only person there that actually asks him a question. She's demanding his thoughts on the Tenet release date delay. And letting him know that she'll be watching in the future.
It's a date. It's a date.
It's a date.
Great, now he's dating the chat room. He takes this as a sign to do his vlogs once a day. He's dating at least 10 usernames. It's the most important thing to happen to him this week.
Tomorrow's my birthday.
I mean, oops. So stay for finding love in quarantine and suffer through Officers Laurel and Hardley.
Stop it with the donut, Denton, and look for perpetrators.
Where does this deep-seated hatred of donuts come from?
The cliffhanger of this series is going to be them accidentally shooting the paperboy, isn't it? So far, as quick as this was produced, it's not shot badly. It honestly looks how it would probably normally look, even if it wasn't filmed during a quarantine. There's a lot of stuff here people can relate to, such as cabin fever, dating during the quarantine, worrying about your job, plus homeschooling, learning to cook better, and communicating with your kids about what's going on in the world. The jokes are corny, yeah, and it takes too long to introduce the love interest, but remembering back to the stupid kid humor from God Bless the Broken Road, I've seen cornier family stuff in religious productions. David A.R. White definitely carries it well. He and his daughter have good chemistry together, and it's not like it isn't the first time he's headlined a Pure Flix sitcom between shows like Malibu Dan, The Family Man, and Hitting the Brakes. The 8-part series runs about 10 to 20 minutes each, so really, it's more like a movie that was just split up into 8 parts. It's available on pureflix.com, where you can get a free trial that either leads to $100 a year or $12.99 a month. What? Bro, this may be a little too much for a streaming service where one of the first things that pops up is Bark Ranger. I, on the other hand, would pay $20 a month for Bark Ranger. And it's a better love story than their other love story, Old Fashioned, also featuring a Rick and a character named Amber. Finding love in quarantine can be summed up with, I have nothing else to watch today, and I want to see how this leads to David A.R. White in a post-pandemic world shooting bikers in the head in a desert store. Plus, it's a way to kill time before his version of John Wick comes out. So subscribe to us today at youtube.com/StoneGremlinProductions, click the notification bell, plus check out our recent Snob episode on The Jerk 2. Yes, that also exists. See you next time.